That's better, right? Let me resize. Here we go. Let's start. This is Chapter 214, Land of Hope, Volume 2, Chapter 1. Let's go. 269. Wow, okay. Choo-choo! A train whistle resounded in every corner of the station as metal behemoth in the form of a steam locomotive came to slow stop with more than 20 carriages in a row. Dressed in a tuxedo and half-top hat, Klein was carrying an exaggerated luggage bag that appeared incongruent with his figure. He took out a firm step on the ground on the Lowen Kingdom's capital, Backlund. Yeah, he bought so much stuff. He spent like 38 pounds on new clothes, by the way. So he put all of that in the goddamn suitcases. The city was divided into two regions by the Osek River, which flowed to southeast. The two lands were connected by the Backlund Bridge and ferries with a population exceeding 5 million people. That's insane. It was most prosperous capital in southern and northern continents. How is Klein gonna find Lanevus and Ints? I guess a lot of divination. Also, you can't rely on divination. Klein looked at the far distance and saw faint yellow smog. Ew! Smog! Visibility was terrible and the gas lamps hanging above the train platform were already lit to dispel the gloominess and darkness. Is the smoke? The smoke is because of the factories, right? Yellow. We have grey fog. We have yellow fog, as in smog. Disgusting. It's only 6:30. Looks like it's 9 or 10. Klein shook his head indiscriminately. Suddenly he recalled a joke he read on Dusk Times. Funny. I'm glad Klein can still joke around, by the way. He's not like completely possessed by revenge, which I think he's slowly he's gonna like lose his mind soon. A gentleman who just arrived in Backlund found himself lost in thick smoke. Helpless, he asked a drenched gentleman passing him by, "How do you get to Dusk River?" The gentleman answers him in a friendly manner. "Walk straight without stopping. I just swam from there." Haha, funny. Joke adapted from English magazine Punch. Thank you. Thank you, little fish. Actually funny though. Every time I read Backlund newspaper and magazines, the reporters and editors will make a mockery of the polluted air or the increasing foggy days in every conceivable way. I mean, shouldn't you fix that? Because aren't all of your citizens gonna die from the smog? It's gonna give everyone cancer. Everyone's gonna have lung cancer after this, dude. Possible. Previously, the Backlund Daily... What was the thing? Oh, in every conceivable way. Possible. Previously, the Backlund Daily Tribune even did the statistics, and it was found that it has gone from about 60 days a year from 30 years ago to present 75 days a year. For this, many far-sighted people established organizations like the Soot Reduction Association, Smoke Reduction Association. Apparently, there was a bill in September that motioned the need to establish the National Atmospheric Pollution Council. That's good. These are right steps, by the way. Klein lowered his huge luggage bag and pinched his nose to gain respite from the sudden discomfort. The smog is interesting because I think a lot of cities in the past had a big problem, especially in China, but now Chinese people have like fixed that problem, right? There's not that smoky anymore. Then tracing his golden chain, he fished out a golden pocket watch from his vest pocket. He popped it open and looked at the time. Also, why is smoke yellow? When he truly bade farewell to his siblings, he had especially visited a department store and spent £4 10 solid to buy a golden pocket watch and match it with golden chain worth £1 5 solid. Okay, big expender. Holy! Do not constantly be aware of the exact time made him feel a sense of horror. Like anxiety, right? Klein had planned on buying a silver pocket watch as he left. It matched his temperament, but after considering the true essence of clown, he finally chose a new, more showy and exaggerated golden watch. True! That's such a good way to act, by the way. That's such a good way to act. Like, you just do clownish decisions that, you know, clowns will do. Not like actually clown in a circus, but like two clownish decisions, like, oh, you know, like that, like buy a golden one when you have no money. 6:39, it's not that much later. Klein put away his pocket watch and held his cane and luggage bag as he slowly walked out the steam locomotive station with the crowd. Suddenly he made a sudden turn, causing a person who was secretly tailing him to have his hand fall empty when reaching for his pockets. Who is tailing Klein? Did I skip a page? No, I didn't. Let's keep reading. Maybe it's like some street urchin who wants money from him or something like that. Or like some shady people, because it's the capital, right? There's so many poor people. What did Fenber say? Eindu? Yeah? Klein was unfazed, but his episodes followed a cement-paved road and mixed into the crowd, arriving at an intersection in front of him. There was a lawn and garden that circled around the column that represented a chimney. Oh, gosh. No, it's very likely a chimney. Klein saw the column spewing thick smoke from its top, and that's more smoke. A portion of the smoke floated high to the sky as a portion contains into tiny liquid droplets that scattered everywhere. Ew! It's literally raining fucking poison. Klein paused once again and placed his luggage down. He spread open the newspaper, oh my, and map that he had held on to using the other hand. While on the steam locomotive, he had already planned where he was going to go or what to do next. The experiences that he had undergone and the mental experience that he had when he disguised a clown in the morning made Klein finally understand the true essence of a clown. Exactly, that's so true, by the way. Although being capable of knowing a little about fate, one remains helpless towards fate. Therefore, one might as well use a smiling face to hide all the pain. Sorrow, confusion, and depression. That's actually so fucking sad. Oh my god. At that moment, he clearly felt the clown potion quote-unquote digest. Ah. So he figured it out and believed that if he continued acting this way, it wouldn't take long for him to make another attempt at advancing. But herein lay the problem. He didn't know the corresponding name of Sequence 7 potion, much less know its exact formula. How should I obtain the formula? Secret Order seldom appears. They only seem to be interested in Anticonus family item. Is it? I think you should also be focused on Anticonus family because I think they have the Seer formula, like complete one. Is that maybe that's why Secret Order is like so focused on Anticonus? This is also why others have little understanding of them. Yes, I should consider two such aspects. One, I need to come into contact with the local Beyonder circles and see if I can find clues. Two, I shall set a trap and use the Anticonus family treasure as a bait to lure the Secret Order out. After all, I do possess knowledge of the strange vertical pupil formed from the numerous mysterious symbols. But it's too risky. I need to be careful since the bait cannot be too good or too bad. It won't garner their interest if it's too bad, and if it's too good, I might end up getting attracting a shark. Oh, as in like a big boy, right? A shark can swallow me whole. The Secret Order leader Saratul is a figure who guided Emperor Roselle. Maybe he had obtained the biggest slice of the pie during that revolutionary feast. Of course, he might not still be alive, as that was something from 200 years ago. I think he is alive. Also, I do want to say, another theory is that Roselle is going to mention the Grey Fog in one of his notes. Roselle is going to mention the Grey Fog in one of his... By the way, I will save this notepad and we'll add theories to it. So at the end of volume 2, we are gonna see how many of my guesses came true. Right? 1 second, something fell. The series are low-key all interesting. You are surprised? You thought I was a fraud? Amidst his thoughts, Klein felt the coldness of Backlund and couldn't help but shiver. He decided to find a resident as soon as possible. He flipped through the papers and once again browsed through the dental section and saw a circled advertisement. 15th Minsk Street. Oh, this is the house he's gonna rent. We saw that teaser at the end of the donghua. Terrace house, weekly rent of 18 solly. Oh, that's nothing. That's like peanuts. Klein had thought this through very carefully about the area. By the way, he's jobless and homeless. I guess if he's gonna rent, He's not gonna be homeless, but he has to somehow upkeep his money. So what I think is gonna happen, he's gonna open like a detective freelance business. Klein is going to open a detective freelance business. Even though he is a clown, right? Even though he is a clown and he doesn't have to act as a detective, he can passively act as a clown. He can be like, hello, welcome to my detective center. And then he's gonna act anyway, right? Klein is okay, so I should actually maybe like number them so we know how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh fuck, I fucked up. Okay, I fucked up again. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There we go. Yeah, what's up, guys? I was doing an exaggerated speech like he would do when he was able to act as a clown. Anyway, let's keep reading. Monitor turned off. What's up, Chin? Haven't seen you in a long time. How are you doing? Klein had thought this through very carefully about the area in which he had to stay in. Although Backlund had a population exceeding 5 million people, he still needed to be wary about meeting the local Nighthawks, be it the newly transferred Dali or Lorotta. Lorotta is the woman who was helping on Bieber, right? Who we think is lesbian. I'm gonna copy this. Ayur Harson, true, and Borgia, that he previously met, they will definitely be able to recognize him. Therefore, Klein eliminated the North Borough, where the Church of Evernight Backlund Theokis headquarters and Saint Samuel Cathedral was. He also eliminated areas with the best security and extremely strictly monitored Empress Borough and Western Borough. Because these are like Tories or like aristocrats live over there. These two boroughs belong to the nobles, there we go, and the richest magnates, with 2 or more nobles living closer to Empress Borough. Interesting. After eliminating the worker areas, the harbour and the East Borough and Backlund Bridge region where the poor gathered, Klein had a few choices left. The first choice was Hillston Backlund, where Backlund Stock Exchange, Clearinghouse, Future Centre, the 7 major banks, headquarters, various trust funds, rail companies, bulk algo commerce companies, where it was known as the financial, business and economic centre of the Lowen Kingdom. The second choice was Sherwood Borough, where there's many small companies and residential buildings. I see. The two boroughs had a lot of people in them, and the security was relatively good. It was good for hiding in. After serious consideration, Klein chose the cheaper Sherwood Borough. Okay. The reason why I didn't seek out organizations like the Capital Housing Improvement Company or Capital Housing Improvement Association was due to the fact that they needed identification which he couldn't produce at the moment. Yeah, and you probably need a job as well, right? Klein, go to the jobless center! Tarot Club was on 1 week hiatus. I don't know when the next one is though. We have some Roselle diary pages that we need to check out though. If I can't find a place to rent today, I'll find a motel that doesn't need any identification to stay for the night. Klein gathered the things in his hand and carried his luggage. According to the map, he walked toward what seemed like a department store entrance. That was a Backlund's metro entrance. Oh, there's a metro! That's so fucking cool! Yes, a metro. The first thing Klein saw the word metro in the newspaper magazines, he nearly jumped in fright. He never expected that such a transportation vehicle had become reality in this era, which had entered the age of electricity. That's so fucking cool. Metros are so cool, man. It was born 5 years ago. It first connected both banks of the River and had now expanded to the key city boroughs. Of course, there weren't many stations. Throughout the main tour, Klein followed the people ahead of him as he walked to the ticketing booth. After being in line for a few minutes, he finally saw a cashier with a head with beautiful golden hair. Interesting. The lady didn't raise her head. All she did was point at the wooden board by the side of the window with the prices. Peak period 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., 10-minute headway. 15-minute headway for all other times. First class seat 6 pence, second class seat 4 pence, third class seat 3 pence. Return trips are respectively 9, 6, 5 pence. Annual pass, first class £8, second class 5. This is some fucking exam question right here, by the way. First class £8, second class £5, 10 solly. Third class, no annual pass. Reasonable prices, I will say. Very reasonable prices, especially third class and second class difference being 1 pence, and then 3 class and first class difference being 3 pence. Nowadays, if you want to get like a first class plane ticket, it's like 10 times or like 50 times fucking more expensive than the normal class, you know? Cheaper than I imagined. There's actually no distance restriction. Melissa will definitely love this more than a horse carriage. This is the culmination of machinery, Klein thought as suddenly felt upset. He revealed a brilliant smile and fished out 4 pence and handed it to the cashier. So second class. Second class seat. Smack! The cashier tore a ticket and stabbed it before handing it to Klein. After finding the line that led to Sherwood Borough and passing through the not very strict security checks, Klein went down the flight of stairs and quickly came to the platform. He followed the labels on the ground and found the corresponding location for second-class seats. Choo-choo! He didn't wait long before he heard the chugging sound of a train and the thunderous steam whistle. He saw a huge steam locomotive. Its large and meandering body, together with a black metallic luster and complex machinery, mixed together to form a unique beauty. Oh my god, he's autistic. He likes trains. He's calling it a beauty, unique beauty. Metro is so fucking good. Backlund's Metro still use steam locomotives. The smoke that will spew was specially designed to enter a pipe, really, out through a chimney out in the world. They have to get on that electricity soon, by the way. They also has a true usage for the lawn and garden out on the streets. Amidst the screeching sound of metal, Klein first waited for the passengers to align before carrying his cane and luggage over slowly. He then allowed the conductor to check his tickets. Unlike the third-class seat, the second-class seats were one person to a seat, so there were no concerns about having one snatched. Just as Klein sat down, stowed away his luggage, he leaned on his cane and suddenly heard hurried footsteps. Someone is missing the train, I guess. He subsequently looked towards the door and saw a thin adolescent boy rush into the carriage. Okay, interesting. Someone nearly missed the train. Maybe a friend or a guide who can show us around the city, maybe? The boy was wearing a coat that didn't suit his age. Too big, he wore a round top hat and carried a ragged haversack. Sus, he kept his head very low. Maybe he ran away from home. Like, took his dad's clothes. I'm sorry. I got in the wrong carriage. I'm from third class. He showed his ticket and apologized for the passenger before briskly walking towards the third-class carriage. Klein retracted his case and once again confirmed his destination as he waited for the doors to carriage to close. Oh, let's remember this boy, because I think it's important. They're gonna come back, otherwise they won't mention him. Klein retracted his case and once again confirmed his destination as he waited for the doors to the carriage to close. At that moment, he heard chaotic and hurried footsteps. Even then saw a few men dressed in black coats and half-top hats rush into the carriage. Are they chasing that 15-year-old boy? Oh, he is doing, like, he's up to no good and mischief. Oh my god, this boy is up to no good and mischief. Klein instinctively had such a thought. He shook his head gently and continued reading the newspaper, the map, just like the other passengers on board the carriage. This is cool, like, to show how quirky Backlund is, that there are a lot of, like, kid criminals. All this, like, adolescent boy is gonna come back later. Doing a mind map on a whiteboard. If I had a whiteboard, I will do that. It's coming soon, don't worry. It's coming soon. Anyway, first chapter of volume 2, it was a setup chapter as well. He checked out some place to rent. We first arrived at Backlund. We learned that there's a metro in Backlund, which is really cool. And I do think it's gonna have to open up like a business, and it's gonna... what I think is gonna happen is open a business. On the side, it's gonna look for landlords and ints. At the same time, it's gonna meet some new people. And we're gonna see like him slowly losing control to revenge, and then something happens where he snaps out of it and, I don't know, kills Lanevus, and then realizes that Line is also a monster in the process, or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, let's go to 215. Mrs. Sammer. Interesting. Let's see this woman. I haven't run ads today. I'm so sad. No, I haven't run ads today. I forgot to run ads. Nobody reminded me. I'm gonna jump in a second, guys. Sammer. Sammer. Mrs. Sammer. Did you see a teenage boy? He's wearing an old coat. One of the men who dashed into the carriage asked the conductor fiercely. Klein glanced at the man through the corner of his eyes. He was thin and hardy, his skin a dark shade from prolonged exposure to sun. Huh, laborer. His eyes were much more recessed than the typical low income citizen. Oh, foreigner maybe? A Highlander or mixed blood. You know that thoughtfully. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of like mixed people because it's the capital, right? In the middle of the northern continent, the point where the Hornaches mountain range began, there was a highland which was extremely hot and dry. Most of it belonged under the Feinaputer kingdom, while the area west belonged to the Intis Republic. The area to the east belonged to the Lowen kingdom. Its natives were thin and barbarians. That's very stupid thing to say, but they were brave and skillful in warfare. A long time ago, they posed as one of the biggest problems for the three nations, but with advancement of gunpowder and the changes in the way war was carried out, these Highlanders eventually recognized reality and submitted. I see. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Highlanders, I see. And that guy might be a Highlander. A large number of them left Highlands and then the Backlund, Trier, Feinaputer City, and Trier is a Feinaputer City, I guess. Oh no, Trier is a city and also Feinaputer City. That's a nice name. It's like Lowen Kingdom City. And the various flourishing cities of ports in the northern continent, some of were workers while others became grunts for the local triads. They dared to kill and showed up no fear of thrown situations. Okay, interesting. The conductor was a man in his 20s. He shrank back when he heard that as he pointed in the direction of the third class carriage. So I wonder if these two men are part of some like low gang in Backlund, right? Maybe. The conductor was a man in his 20s. Yeah, I saw him. He went that way. The leader, wearing a black coat and half top hat, nodded indiscriminately. He led his men and rushed to the third-class carriage and showed no concern towards the surrounding passengers. If I were that boy, I would have aligned from the third-class carriage as Klein read his newspaper. Why are backseat gaming, Klein? He began letting his thoughts stray. But a minute later, the train whistled as the carriage door closed. Chuck, 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 chuck. The steam metro began speeding up as it cruised along, but at that moment, Klein suddenly sensed something as he looked up to see a door leading to other second-class carriages. The teenage boy walked slowly into the carriage wearing his old coat and round top hat while carrying a ragged haversack. What a guy, dude! What? He dodged them. He looked adolescent and had refined facial features. His red eyes were staid and solemn. Klein is not like, oh, I can use him. Impressive, he aligned from the third-class carriage and circled around to enter from the first-class carriage again. Was he afraid that his pursuers had partners waiting inside the metro station? Klein was slightly surprised. He felt that the boy's handling of the situation was rather mature and careful. It was much better than the most people in their 20s. He clicked his left more lightly and circled like his split vision. He scanned the boy and saw that he was in a state of fatigue. His emotions were tense and he was dispirited. However, he still maintained a blueness that represented calm thinking. So I'm guessing right now that this boy has done nothing wrong and gangs are looking for him. Maybe like, I don't know, his father took a loan and then he never paid it back or something, and then they're going after his kid, or maybe this little boy was part of their gang but he wanted to leave and that's why they're chasing him down. Impressive at this age, Klein mumbled silently as he lowered his head and continued reading his paper. The boy didn't notice that he had been scrutinized by Beyonder as he headed for the third-class carriage once again. The rest of the journey happened stably and calmly. Klein arrived 20 minutes later at one of the 3 train stations in Sherwood Borough. He took a rented carriage for nearly 10 minutes before finding Minsk Street. According to the descriptions in the papers, he came to Unit 17, which was the next to Unit 15, and pulled the doorbell. Okay, so I think we're gonna see that boy later again, because... thank you, Masters, by the way. We're gonna see that boy again. This is not the last time we see him, because it was very like specific. Anyway, so he is going to the unit he wants to rent. So Minsk Street, Unit 15. Oh, Unit 17. Sorry. Cuckoo, cuckoo. A sound reverberated inside the house. A mechanical bird that didn't look too fancy popped out from the door. It was about the size of a bomb and was made up of gears and other parts. He constantly nodded its head and let out the sound of a cuckoo bird. Not a bad toy, it's just it's not very well crafted. Klein made an objective assessment. 20 seconds later, door was pulled open. A young maidservant dressed in white and black looked warily at Klein and asked, "May I May I help you?" Klein smiled and waved his cane, which was now wrapped with newspaper. You should not wave with your cane, that's scary, man. I'm here to find Mrs. Sammer about renting a house. I'm guessing it hasn't been rented out? The full name of newspaper was Stellin Sammer. Oh, Stellin Sammer, okay. Maybe it's that a young maidservant. Not at all. Not at all. Please wait a moment. The maidservant bent her back politely. Oh, like bowed, okay. She rushed inside and reported to her mistress. Moments later, she came out again and ushered him in. She then helped him place his cane and luggage in the foyer and hung his coat and sat on the clothes rack in the same place. A warm blast of air inundated him, dispersing the chill Klein had brought in. He scanned the area and first saw a uniquely designed fireplace. He saw a piece of red, smokeless charcoal burning inside. That's nice. That's like very cozy and chill. Slammer living room was rather big. It was nearly equivalent to the entire Moretti's first floor area. Jesus Christ. Certain areas were decorated with carpets or paintings with beautiful sceneries. The maidservant brought Klein to the sofa and said to her mistress in a pale yellow dress, Madam, the guest is here." The mistress was in her 30s. Oh, pretty young. She had blonde hair and blue eyes. She looked rather pretty and had preserved her youthfulness well. 30 is young! Like, I'm pushing 30 and I'm scared to reach like 35 and then look like a fucking unk. That's why I started skincare as well. I started losing weight. I don't want to die in my 30s, man. Looked rather pretty and had preserved her youthfulness. She held a silver inlaid feathered royal fan in her hand, and as she was home and the fireplace made for a warm environment, she didn't wear anything around her neck, revealing her white bosom. Oh, bosom. And shiny long neck. That's cool. Do you watch Coco? Coco, the React Messiah? Of course. I have been hung for a long time. If your birthday starts with 1, it doesn't. It doesn't start with 1. It starts with 2, Fanber. Mine is 2000. Hello there, Mr. Sammer. Klein pressed one ball to his chest and bowed. Mrs. Sammer smiled in a reserved manner. Good evening, please have a seat. Do you wish for some coffee or tea? Klein sat on the sofa and answered frankly, "Tea, please." 2000, yeah. Julianne McCue's black tea. This sounds so fucking rich. Instructed Mrs. Sammer. She turned her eyes to Klein and asked, How might I address you? Sherlock Moriarty. You can call me Sherlock. That's okay. That's aura, dude. Oh. Klein had thought a long time of a fake name. At that moment, he got a whiff of a fragrance from a kitchen and saw complicated pipes. Sherlock Moriarty, though. That's so cool. Those are my husband's designs. Although his actual job is a manager at Coin Company, he's a machinery enthusiast, also a member of the Kingdom's Suit Reduction Association. Mrs. Sammer noticed Klein's case and explained with a smile. Mrs., there's no need to go into such detail. I'm not here on the blind date with your husband. Oh my god, top lampooning. Klein lampooned, as he said, without a smile. First lampoon is in the second chapter of Volume 2. I am the React Messiah. Klein lampooned, as he said with a smile. Mrs. Sammer, I wish to rent the Unit 15. Mrs. Sammer straightened her back and she sat elegantly. She said with a smile. Posture check, guys. She said with a smile. I have to remind you of certain things. Unit 15 doesn't have such pipes. Reclining chairs, or reclining, hairline, card tables, mahogany kitchen cabinets, fine porcelain, silver cutlery, gold-plated tea sets, or removable carpets. That's so unnecessary. All of this stuff is so unnecessary. She pointed out the things in her house as she introduced them one after another. After she was done, she added, it originally belonged to my elder sister and brother-in-law, but due to a business failure, my brother-in-law had no choice but to move to the southern continent. Bro, just stitched. They have a plantation at Palam, of course. Fucking slave owners. However, I don't agree with their choice. It's just too unfair for my niece and nephew. There are no good grammar schools there, not even a good home tutor. Mrs., that's something I'd like to know. That's not something I'd like to know. Klein nodded sincerely and said, apart from the weather, there's no place in the southern continent that can compare with... Also, Mrs. Sammer is a yapper. Backlund. His agreement satisfied Mrs. Sammer greatly as her eyes started slightly. His house still has 3 years lease. I wish for you to pay a year's rent at once. 18 soldi a week. The use of the furniture will cost 1 soldi. You can collect a deposit of 50 pounds. That's insane money. Wait, he has spent so far at least like 50, right? Even more. Like, let's say he has spent like 60 pounds. He's gonna have spent 50 pounds here. That's 110 pounds. But I'm very family-friendly sketcher. He still planned on renting another one-bedroom apartment in Backlund's Eastborough. He will use it to change his clothes, undergo disguise, and shrink of tailing. It was necessary for what he planned to do. Bro, you have to start somehow, like, making money. Stellin. Wait twice. Nodded slightly and asked, have you studied grammar school? Klein chuckled and said, yes. I later studied history. Do you have ID with you? That's not good, asked Stelling casually. I'm sorry, I was in a hurry when I left home and forgot to bring it with me. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm from Midseashire. Klein deliberately used the accent his classmate Welch often used. That's crazy. When I said I forgot, it reminded him of Captain Dunsmith. Aww. The smile of his face turned even more brilliant. At this moment, the maidservant Julianne brought up a cup of black tea over. The cup was porcelain white, classic flowery pattern. Some areas were blinding cold. That's so unnecessary, man. Klein took a sip and found the fragrance distant. The mix of sourness and sweetness were perfect, and it was clearly much better than the Siba black tea he often drank. Very authentic Marquis black tea, he complimented with a description which shouldn't be faulted. Mrs. Dale Sammer curled her lips and said, then let's do half a year's rent for £25. So that means he doesn't have to pay for half a year, but he has to pay up front. That's kind of cool, right? Oh my god, Fanbear deserved. Klein thanked her and engaged in a few minutes of idle chatter with her. Other maidservant found the service contract from the study. It's skill issue right now. I think Mrs. Sammer not checking the ID is her downfall. But it's good for Sherlock Moriarty, by the way. After both parties signed the contract, Klein counted £25 while feeling the pinch and pushed it to Mrs. Sammer. Stelling counted it silently before smiling. Mr. Moriarty, I believe you'll be finding a job in Backlund. Yes, Klein answered, feeling a little lost. The corners of Stalin's mouth hooked up. I can give you some suggestions. With a weekly salary lower than £3, it will be difficult for you to live in Sherwood Borough. Your rent, food expenses, water, gas and charcoal expenses, transport expenses, and everything else added up will be cost at least £2.5. Believe me, this is Backlund. One still has to consider new clothes and good cutlery and tea sets. A weekly salary of £3 is the bare minimum. Yep. If your weekly salary reaches £5, you can hire a lady maid. At £6, you can consider hiring a chef. These are things are unnecessary, Mrs. Sammer. At £7, you can add a footman. Footman? Are you building your own army? No, I am planning to read all 8 volumes. For £8, you can hire an additional lady's maid. What the fuck? Mrs. Sammer, I think you're flaunting your wealth. Exactly. Once earned more than £10 a week. Klein maintained his smile as he listened intently. At that moment, the door suddenly opened. A stout man, husband, walked in. He was dressed in a black double-breasted suit and leather gloves at the same color. Above his lips were 2 elegant mustaches. How do you have 2 mustaches? What? Summer said you're too poor. Yeah, Summer called him a brokey. At that moment, the door suddenly opened. Yeah. Luke, this is Mr. Moriarty. He will be our neighbor. Stanley Summer went forward and introduced him. Obviously, the master of the house, Luke, took off his coat and handed it to the wallet behind him. He smiled politely and said, Mr. Moriarty, would you like to join us for dinner? There's really like pampering him up for some reason. I guess this hospitality. This is the Backlund hospitality. This is the manager of some coin company, a member of the Lower Kingdom's Salted Reductions Association. Client said with a smile, I'm very sorry, Mr. Sammer. I've eaten on the steam locomotive, although the taste does leave deep impression on me. After exchanging some pleasantries, Klein was led by Julianne out of the house and ran into the neighboring Unit 15. The layout was... Imagine if it was this easy to rent an apartment. You know what happens here when you're trying to rent an apartment? You have to go do background checks. You have to prove that you have a job. Like, that's why people are homeless, man. After exchanging some pleasantries, Klein led by Julianne out of the house and into the neighboring Unit 15. The layout was very similar to the unit next door. The first floor had a huge living room, a dining room with decent lighting, 2 guest rooms, a bathroom, a cellar, a kitchen. It's all the way back. On the second floor, there were 4 bedrooms, an activity room, a solarium, study, 2 bedrooms, a huge balcony. You're gonna feel so lonely here, Klein. You're gonna miss your family. You're gonna go crazy. You're gonna... I mean, the revenge is gonna consume him. Mrs. Sammer wishes to tell you that you can rent out part of it, but not to the workers or... or not to the workers, or make this place too packed or noisy. Oh, I'll bring clean blankets, sheets and pillow. Case in a while, Justin returned to the Stammers after informing Klein. Imagine he's gonna rent it out, and he's gonna rent it out to like, I don't know, Inns. Does not know it's Inns. Imagine. Probably not though. After doing a round of... He's gonna recognize Inns's face, that's for sure, right? After doing a round of... He has seen a picture of Inns and he has a distinct look, like he has one eye, blind in one eye, and like receding hairline and white hair and yeah. I wonder though if he's gonna rent out, I'm gonna see some other Beyonders. Inns and Klein beneath the same roof, yeah. What a sitcom that will be. He sits in an empty living room. After a round of packing, Klein finally settled into Backlund. That sat in an empty living room and suddenly felt lonely. Exactly, lonely! Hence he forced himself to consider his future plans. Whether he liked it or not, revenge and advancement couldn't be done in the blink of an eye. Therefore he had to obtain a lucrative job to prevent himself from facing any financial problems. However, a job couldn't restrict him and affect his movements and plans. In other words, he needed sufficient freedom. Self-employed! After some deliberation and eliminating unsuitable jobs, Klein was left with 3 choices. He could become an author. Oh, by becoming a plagiarist. Oh, like Earth books. That's so lame, man. Imagine he's gonna pull a Roselle, write like, I don't know, Dostoevsky or some like philosophical shit, and then make money off that. That's gonna be such a loser thing, dude. His identity was sensitive, and so the more famous he became, the more trouble it meant. All he could do was give up unwillingly. I'm guessing pen name as well, right? Second choice to be a news reporter. What? This was considered quite a decent job in this time and age. However, job applications required these educational certificates and other documents and was helpless in that respect. Finally, he chose the third job, private detective. Yes, I'm one of the. Yes, I knew it. That was so like with the name, fucking Sherlock Moriarty. He had to, man. He had to. It's also the reason why he had to take on a fake name. What a Chad, dude. That's how it ends. Private detective. Boom. My prediction. 216, the same old gathering. Oh, it's Monday. It's Monday. Good night, Shira. He also can use his detective thing to look for Lonevus, right? Also, I do think he's gonna. What's it called? He's gonna recruit that boy into his business, the 15-year-old maybe, because he can like pay him pennies. Because he's 15 and that guy's like running away from a gang or something. I'm gonna write that then. 17, Klein is going to hire teen boy. There we go. I have to adjust my pants. 16. Klein started this morning in Backlund on a cold and humid weather conditions with a light fog that provided very little visibility. For breakfast, he had 1 liter worth of cheap tea. 1 liter? That's an insane breakfast. Hire teen boy for his business. To like track people. To like spy on them. To like follow them around. He's good at that, you know? Cheap tea costing 1 penny and 2 pieces of toast with inferior butter in the center. Inferior butter. He was busy the entire morning. He first went to the Sherwood Borough's Backlund Bulletin to post a tiny advertisement for a month at the cost of £30. He paid £30 for an advertisement? On Tuesday, the Backlund Bulletin loyal readers will see a diner present along the seams of 7th and 8th page. So this is the advertisement, guys. Sherlock Moriarty, good at various types of private investigations, reasonable prices, and strictly adheres the principles of confidentiality. Resides at Sherwood Borough 15, Minsk Street. Reason why Klein didn't choose the major newspapers like the Cossack Times or the Backlund Daily Tribune and had leadership all across the entirety of Flown Kingdom was due to the fact that his business was temporarily limited to Backlund. Furthermore, he didn't wish for a sterling reputation. Doesn't he have to like set up a company in his name and then pay taxes? And he needs ID for that. I got to hydrate in the morning. Yeah, 1 liter of tea. Therefore, the Backlund Bulletin, which had well received locally and had low advertisement fees, became his first choice. £30, by the way. After leaving Backlund Bulletin headquarters, Klein took out a map and followed it to purchase various herbs, powders, and silver slices from various herbal stores, flower stores, jewelry stores, and accessory stores. Aid in preparation of holding a ritual when items that didn't have any spiritual labor involved. Most of the materials and mysticism could be purchased from ordinary stores, however, they weren't all under one roof, requiring him to visit many stores to collect them. I don't think detectives pay taxes. Nowadays they have to. Anyway, due into antics, I guess. To do so, clients have another £5. That's running out of money quick, by the way. The humongous sum of £200 at TV2 broke below £100 mark, leaving him only with 92. Spending money is easy as drinking water. Client found a small cafeteria nearby and ordered a black pepper steak worth 8 pence. Bro is ordering steaks! I think you have to like save your money, man. He returned to Minsk Street at 1 in the afternoon, and without rest, he spent his time using slumber, flour, dragon blood cross, dark red sandalwood, and mint powders to create holy night powder, a key ingredient needed to create a wall of spirituality. Okay, I see. Okay, I have to remember this for the exam. Slumber, flower, dragon blood, dark red, sandalwood. Okay. Only make do with this method until he brought a real silver ritual dagger. Klein speculated that they would have the advanced sequence 7 before he could do away with this restriction. Phew, Miss Justice, Mr. Hanged Man, and the Sun haven't requested for leave yet. The gathering will be held one time today. Oh, gathering today! Ah, Bajima, true. That's so true. Wonder what surprises Mr. Hanged Man will bring me and how many pages of Roselle diary he can provide. Klein had laid back on his bed in the bedroom and thought about all sorts of things. To him, a private detective was a career that took into account both money and action. It allowed him to get in touch with people from all walks of life and slowly discover the Beyonder circle in Backlund. True, this is so smart. Actually, he planned it out so good. He could slowly find clues regarding the secret order. Of course, if he was lucky, he would even be able to figure out the sequence 7, which corresponded to the clown, through a particular circle of Beyonders, and buy the corresponding potion formula and main ingredients. As for Int's whereabouts, Klein temporarily chose not to take the initiative to seek him out. He might even avoid him a little, however, if he were to accidentally discover this enemy of his without exposing himself, he wouldn't mind doing a good deed and sending an anonymous letter to Church of Every Night. True, that's so true, actually. I do think he's gonna go after Lonevus as well, and maybe Lonevus first. A private detective income can at most support the middle class standard of living. If I want enough money to buy the potion formula and beyond the materials, it either depend on Miss Justice, Sugar Mommy, or it will be through investments with the remaining 100 pounds that I have left in my anonymous account. Yes, I can't touch 92 pounds that I have for the time being. Perhaps I won't be having any income for some time. With this in mind, Klein suddenly sat up. He came to the first floor and began reading the various newspapers he bought in the passing. These newspapers often carried news about what had been invented and required investments, or how someone wished to form a joint venture with others to do a particular business. Klein relied on his knowledge from Earth and his understanding of this era to carefully shift through the projects. Unfortunately, none of the ones in the papers so they were reliable. Yeah, because Klein can invest easily because he knows that what technology is gonna work and what doesn't work. You can take examples from Earth. At 15 minutes to 3, he returned to the bedroom, locked the door through the corridor. Oh, time! And used holy night powder to create a wall of spirituality. Klein took 4 steps counterclockwise, arrived about the grey fog. He sat in the high chair, blowing the fool, before extending his spirituality and touching the crimson star that symbolized the sun, as if he was responding to a prayer. This is one of the few things in my new life that hasn't changed. He suddenly sighed. It's not going to be that lonely anymore. In an area outside of City of Silver, in a greyish black tower that was half collapsed. Outside of City of Silver, Derek's on a mission. Derek cannot come. Remember, Derek is part of that team now that goes outside of missions and kills monsters. 9 members of the patrol squad were gathered around the blazing bonfire, chatting about their experience in the past few days. There were also a few other team members guarding the perimeter, prepared for any possible attacks that might break out from the darkness. Many of City of Silver's Beyonders had used their blood to teach them a lesson. At the time, any of City of Silver's Beyonders had used their blood to teach them a lesson. As in, like, teach the monsters a lesson? But, okay. At all times, never let your guard down. The monsters in darkness will very well be right behind you. On a night when the frequency of lightning was very low, it was necessary to keep the flames burning and the light shining. Once they're completely enveloped in darkness, it wasn't impossible for them to all disappear. No one could say for sure, but just what terrible things would happen in total darkness, because reality had broken the limits of their imagination time and time again. Derek remained reserved and silent as he quietly listened to his companions, reminiscing about the monster they had encountered before. It was a humanoid monster with eyes covering its entire body. Oh, blood is in their lives. Ah, true. Yeah, true. I'm guessing the amount of Beyonders in the Forsaken Land of God is a lot more than Backlund. I'm guessing like per capita, because probably Backlund and Lion Kingdom have more people living there because it's less dangerous and less people die, even though they still die like from overwork and child labor and stuff like that, but I think it's still better than life in City of Silver, right? Humanoid monster with eyes. That's so crazy, dude. That's so creepy. In order to finish off the monster, the patrolling team suffered a heavy price with 5 injured and 2 of them severely injured. I feel like all these monsters were once human, and then some god turned them into monsters, and they're basically killing fellow humans that are now monsters. Suddenly Derek's vision blurred and he felt himself being enveloped by a thick grey mist. In an exceptionally faraway place in depths of grey fog, blurry figure sat on an ancient high black back chair, looking down at him. Prepare for the gathering. This is a problem now, Derek, because Derek is outside. The fool's voice echoed in Derek's ears, but none of his teammates were aware of it. After withdrawing his gaze and observing the area for more than 10 seconds, Derek moved to the very edge of the fire, leaned against the broken wall, and prepared to be asleep. Yeah, true, you can pretend to be asleep actually, but what if a monster attacks? Ever since he found out the members of 6-member council and Elder Lovia were unable to discover the existence of Mr. Fool. Remember, because Lovia was like towering over Derek during like a meeting when Derek got a response from Mr. Fool, and Lovia never like realized that Fool was there. Yeah, he gradually believed that as long as he didn't carelessly reveal any clues, he would be able to quietly attend the dark cloud gathering of the Grey Folk, even under the gaze of others. Okay, so now we're gonna see Audrey. Backlund, Empress Borough. Using the excuse that she was tired, Audrey returned to her bedroom. Also, there are a lot of bodyguards around Audrey, so it's gonna be hard for Audrey to get to the meeting, but let's see. She curbed her excitement and didn't pace back and forth. Instead, he sat quietly on the bed, waiting for Mr. Fool's summoning. New pages as well, by the way. After I was busy communicating with the other members of Parliament about the proposed bill, and the Beyonder card isn't tailing me constantly. Thank you, goddess. Okay, so they stopped. But they still are, kinda. My life has finally returned to normal. 2 weeks have passed. Mr. Hanged Man must have repaired the pituitary gland of a major rainbow salamander. I'm about to advance to sequence 8. Audrey thought with the sparkling eyes. Sequence 8 wasn't psychiatrist, it was... what was sequence 8 again? Oh no, don't say. Something is... psychologist, right? To her... This was even more exciting and worth looking forward to the £30,000 and the large plantation worth of at least £8,000. Imagine getting gifted a fucking slave plantation. Finally, she saw the familiar illusory crimson surge towards her like a tidal wave, drowning her. Telepathist! Ah, okay, yeah, you're right. You need a memo note? Yeah, I have one, but it was closed. Yeah, telepathist, because I think I asked once what's the difference between psychiatrist and psychologist, and apparently psychiatrist is the one that describes medicine, and psychologist is the one that, you know, talks to you, right? Anyway. To her, this was even more exciting and worth looking forward to than £30,000 and the large plantation worth at least £8,000. Finally, she saw the familiar usually crimson surge toward her, a tidal wave drowning her. An ancient-looking sailboat. Ancient? Olga Wilson knocked the door to the captain's cabin and sat behind a sextant. Oh, sextant is the way you look at coordinates, by the way. It's a funny word if you're like 12 years old, but yeah. And the ship logs, he kept memorizing the contents of the thick stack of sheets in front of him. After the investigations, he left the bustle of Backlund without any qualms after being rewarded by the upper echelons and returned to the sea, carrying a patch of secretly copied Roselle diary pages. I'm so excited for the pages, man. After digesting the seafarer potion, I'll be able to advance normally. My contributions are enough for me to trade for the formula and ingredients. However, this will expose the fact that I know the acting method. There are advantages and disadvantages. Olga shook his head, suddenly distracted. At that moment, he felt the summoning of the fool. He might quickly recalled the face of Vice Admiral Chilangos, whose flesh and blood quickly rotted as pieces of his face peeled off. Ugh. Algar instinctively lowered his head, allowing the crimson tide to engulf him. we too are excited. Okay, the pages are gonna be fucking big, aren't they? The grey fog inside the palace that looked like a giant's residence. Having activated Spirit Vision, Klein examined Justice, the Hanged Man, and the Sun to confirm their current states. Audrey was about to happily greet everyone when he suddenly saw the Hanged Man gesturing to her before pushing to speak before her. Mr. Fool, I obtained 19 pages. 19! Oh, before rushing to speak before her. Mr. Fool, I obtained 19 pages of Roselle's diary this time. Here, I must thank you for sending your blessed to help me get rid of Chilangos. These diary pages will be compensation I should pay. 19 pages, not bad. Clan is like... Let's get ready to read 19 pages. Clan didn't take much about the blessed as he smiled faintly. What is the principle of equivalent exchange? Respected to Mr. Fool, a pirate admiral, the mystical item has nothing to him. From the looks of it, I don't have to mention my claiming of the bounty. I wonder how many high sequence beyonders Mr. Fool has as his blessed. Audrey had begun to use the word he, him, or his to refer to the fool without realizing it. Oh, that's bad business, man. Upon hearing the fool's answer, Alger said humbly, the limit of my current memory is 6 pages. Oh, fuck. Please allow me to give them to you over separate occasions. They're etching us with the pages, man. They are etching us with the pages. No problem, Klein was surrounded by the thick clay fog, nodded gently. The son Derek looked at the pages and appeared before the Hanged Man and was very curious about the contents of the diary. With his previous experiences, he believed that the items that Mr. Fool was interested in definitely contained many mysteries. Yeah, because Klein is the Lord of Mysteries. He looked at Miss Justice when he saw that she didn't have the impulse to ask. He cautiously maintained his silence. Soon the 6 pages of the diary were complete and they came into Klein's hand. Audrey and others began to wait quietly. They were already used to such things. Klein looked down and read the first page. Oh, here we go, right away, by the way. Right away. 16th of December, I managed to contact the pathetic fellow who trapped in the storm and was lost in darkness. Oh, the people that he sent to look for the land of God, land of forsaken God. Finally, there's a follow-up on one of the previous pages, the diary. Klein was delighted and he became more focused. Yeah, because right now, everything is scattered around. He called himself Mr. Thor. And Mr. Thor may be on the apprentice pathway and tried to teach me a complicated and difficult ritual. He wanted me to help him return to the real world and promised to fulfill 3 of my requests. The Thor is lost at sea and wants to return to the real world. But why is he saying the real world? Does he think I'm stupid? I've lived more than 60 years over my 2 lives. Oh, 2 lives, as he means transmigration, pre-transmigration. Does he think I can tell what this usual manipulation done by evil gods and devils? But the history of the 4th epoch that he described was truly interesting. Oh my god. Not in the sea. Oh, storm, sorry, in the storm. Was lost in the darkness. Because it was earlier mentioned they were sailing to the forsaken land of God. That's why I guess it was the sea. Storm and darkness. His name is Mr. Thor. Mr. Thor. That's the least aura name of all time, by the way. Imagine being called Mr. Thor. Does he think I'm stupid? I've lived more than 60 years, yeah. Until that is the usual manipulation of fun by evil gods and devils, but the history of the 4th epoch. Oh, but the So I'm guessing that maybe Mr. Thor got like possessed and got casted by some devil or evil god, and sent a letter to Roselle. I want to teach a ritual. I'm guessing if, you know, I'm guessing the ritual would like summon the god. That's what the evil god or devil was saying this. Interesting. This condition from the first ever Roselle diary, is it the one where he said he sent people to look for the forsaken land of God, right? And then this guy was the first one, and he, or one of those people, was sent, and he got trapped in a storm and darkness. Sheesh, that's so fucking scary, dude. It's different. Okay, can you send it to me in Discord? I'll go pee real fast and get the water. I'm fucking starving of water. If you can find it fast and send it to Discord, we can like do a continuation reading from the first to the second page. Watch this GIF until I come back. Thank you, Gravish. Thirsty, starving for water. I said what I said. Oh, it's in chat, but also here. Okay, let's read on Discord. 18th of November, truly a fascinating matter, a blue sky, experimentation and chance mistake made me discover the pathetic fellow who lost and trapped. Trapped in the deep darkness amid the storms, he can only approach the reality of this world the day of the full moon. Didn't Force mention something that when... Oh my god! No! Oh my god, I figured something! Oh my god. Mr. Dory is also murmuring to Force! He can only approach the reality of this world on the day of the full moon every month, yet he's unable to transmit his cries. He's lucky to have met me, the dragonist of this era. Oh my god. Mr. Thor is murmuring to Force. And maybe Mr. Thor is sequence 1 of Apprentice? Question mark? Maybe he's an evil god. And he's pretending to be like a pathetic fellow who is stuck, so Roselle can do the ritual and like summon him or something. Maybe that's why. Maybe Roselle is right when he says, "Oh, I recognize the gaslighting of evil gods or devils," right? Because remember, we made a joke when Forrest first time showed his ability to Audrey, and Forrest opened the door, I'm like, door pathway? Maybe this door pathway. Maybe it's not that far-fetched now. Imagine sequence 1 is called door. That's what I said, I'm pretty sure, in one of the when Forrest was first mentioned. Which now makes more sense, because Forrest also said to Shio that he hears murmurings during the full moon. And here in the first diary page, Roselle says he can only approach the reality of this world on the day of the full moon. And is also approaching Roselle, even though Roselle is not on the apprentice pathway, he's in the savant pathway. But because maybe, you know, Roselle is a very influential fellow and they can do that. That's okay, that's so cool. I have this in my theory. I think this add-on of the notepad, writing down my theories immediately, is a really good addition. And I can also post this in the Lord of Mystery chat every time I am done streaming, so people who missed the stream can also read it. Oh my god. Okay, let's keep reading. Chapter 217. The song is crazy good, by the way. I'm getting inspired from the music. Mr. Door's naming style is very familiar to mine. Mr. Fool? Wonder what's the real name of this pathetic fellow who was lost and trapped in deep darkness amidst the storms, and what his sequence is. Or rather, such as Emperor Roselle had guessed, is one of the evil gods or devils, crying out the silent chuckle, which was mixed with ridicule and self-deprecating humor. He was also interested in the history of the Fourth Epoch. I know at the most famous war of the four emperors in the Fourth Epoch, but the specific details and the main figures involved are limited to information spread by the major churches. For example, the blank emperor of the Seleucid Empire. Yeah. You just don't know. This is not like public knowledge. My grandma is calling me. I have an urgent call as well. Let me answer my grandma. Sorry, my great aunt. My grandma is dead. My great aunt was talking about the church and how she visited a concert or something. Anyway, I had a phone call, man. Not your problem you weren't here, Fanber. Anyway, let's keep reading. We have the diary. I do a stream on the mysteries every few days around this time, a little bit earlier. I start a little bit earlier usually. I've been doing like all the mysteries now like 4 days straight or something. But we're gonna slow down a little bit after this because my goal was to catch up to volume 2 before the end of the year, and we did that, so. Masters also had an urgent call. I was away for like 2 minutes. Anyway. Oh, I was laughing you were nodding on your phone. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, true. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway. It was until that day the so-called Mr. Thor finally answered my questions by letting me know who the remaining 3 emperors are. The half-insane Blood Emperor of the Tudor Dynasty, the Night Emperor of the Trans-Oest Empire, and the Emperor of the Underworld of the Southern Continent, also known as Death. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. These are gods. Let me replay the song. It went quiet. These are gods. These are 100% gods. So, Death, the half-insane Blood Emperor of the Tudor Dynasty. Blood. What pathway can that be? Blood. Prisoner, criminal, warrior, no, giant. That's giant. Maybe, sleepless pathway? Why is... the Night Emperor of the Trun-Nosest Empire. Night... Oh no, that's sleepless. That's before the Evernight Goddess's time, I think. And the Emperor of the Underworld, that's Death. So Blood is the one that's missing, man. Prisoner, criminal, lawyer, monster? Maybe? Maybe monster? I do think maybe there's like a werewolf or vampire or some like mythical like creature sequence under monster as well. So Blood can be that, right? Also half insane. It's said that Admia's soul is a monster. It has high spirituality, but it can be compared to monster pathway. Let me copy this. And let me write them here. 19. Emperor of the Underworld is Death. The half-insane Blood Emperor is Monster pathway. The Night, I don't know, but the Night Emperor is sleepless. Okay. Another theory down, guys. If the greatest benefits. Having said that, Mr. Thor added with a profound significance that after over a century of digestion, Death went mad, but he also became stronger. Therefore, Death teamed up with the primordial demoness and brought about a pale disaster for the Northern Continent. Of course, isn't something he witnessed personally, but rather something that he hears when he comes too close to the real world every month. Interesting, okay. So Death and primordial demoness teamed up. Death went mad, but also became stronger. Even deities can go mad. Deities can go mad because they're losing control, because they're just like humans. They're just sequence 1 humans. Come on, Klein. What a horrifying sentence. However, this also confirms my guess before the 5th epoch. Those deities would often descend into real world directly and interfering with the situation in the Northern Continent, Southern Continent. They might even personally appear just like Death. I asked Mr. Thor if he had participated in the War of the 4 Emperors. If so, what role did he play, and what was the position the 7 deities maintained in this war? What role did they play? Mr. Thor didn't answer my question. He only said, a teasing manner, the number of preeminent mighty figures in the 4th epoch far exceeds my imagination. That's so fucking cool. I just get the paragraph. According to Mr. Thor's description, in this war that changed the situation of the entire world, the Black Emperor, Blood Emperor, and the Night Emperor fell one after another. The Emperor of the Underworld reaped the greatest benefits. Okay, I did miss that. And then he went and teamed up with Primordial God Demoness. I see. Let's go back. Thank you. In addition, he also mentioned two laws. One is the law of beyond their characteristics, indestructibility, and other is the law of similar sequence beyond their characteristics. Conservation, which is consistent with certain things that I have learned from the most secret and ancient organization, and also from some of the phenomena I observed. This can lead to many interesting conclusions, making many explanations, take on other forms, making one's mind tremble. In horror, for example, when there are too many high sequence beyonders in the same sequence pathway, low sequence beyonders will reduce, and vice versa. Oh, I see. So that's more likely to lose control because there's too many. That's like breaks the laws, right? Because not everyone can, become a god, right? And that's the reason for that. My mind is trembling in horror. There's too many high sequence beyonders in the same sequence pathway. The low sequence beyonders will reduce and vice versa. Interesting. Roselle carried Klein. Yeah, that's not even a false statement. That's a really good statement. Actually, that's not wrong. I'm gonna copy this. Write it down as well. The beyonder characteristics had been fixed at the source. It will not increase or decrease. Does this mean that there really is a god who created all the deities, an omnipotent, omniscient god, and everything originated from him, or like the original creator, right? Doesn't seem like a myth anymore. This was the longest Roselle diary that Klein had ever seen. It took up 2 full pages, and one could imagine that it originally came from double-sided page. I only became 2 separate pages after repeated copying. That's a lot of information, Klein sighed silently. A lot of information and a lot of good information, by the way. As a history student who had graduated normally, had always believed that the Solomon Empire, the Dudu Dynasty, and the Chunsoest Empire came one after another in a line with a certain degree of restoration before a new political outcome was established. To his surprise, the War of the Four Emperors, described by Mr. Full, clearly unambiguous, revealed one thing: all 3 empires had existed at the same time. This is, by the way, this is diary page 1 out of 6. This meeting. 1 out of 19, or actually 2 out of 6, but yeah, basically this is 1 page. If it, because double-sided, right? All the emperors had existed at the same time. If this were true, then it would really overturn most of the current research of the 4th epoch. In the field of history, suddenly 4th epoch was like 1300 years ago, so a lot of like history can like be kind of hazy from that area, from that era, and maybe on purpose as well. Maybe it's thought like that because, you know, why should you know? And a normal person shouldn't know details. Normal person shut up and follows, right? That's what maybe they're doing. If it were true, then it would really overturn cost of the current research on the 4th epoch. In this field of history, Klein suddenly thought of the original Klein, was filled with interests towards archaeology and the history of regarding the 4th epoch. Oh, the original Klein. You are the original Klein now, basically. I mean, his goal is still to return to Earth, by the way. Today I've helped him achieve his wish. I wonder if death had already become a true identity during the War of the Four Emperors. It's hard to determine according to Mr. Thor's description. I can only first assume that the Emperor of the Underworld, who had obtained benefits from the War of the Four Emperors, had broken through his limits and became a deity. Broken through his limits probably went from sequence 2 to sequence 1. But he also went mad as a result. And when he went to sequence 1, he lost control or something. Maybe that's why. To have a deity go mad was truly terrifying. Just thinking about the details makes one tremble from the bottom of their heart. It's no wonder that the knowledgeable Emperor Roselle would use the word horrifying to describe this matter. Could it be that so-called evil gods were crazy orthodox deities? Will that mean that there might only be evil gods left in this world one day? Man, does this mean that the end of days cannot be stopped? Imagine, dude. Klein is gonna be the one who's gonna step up and help the end of days to be stopped, or Klein is gonna turn and be the one who's gonna start the end of days. Imagine. Klein smiled to hide the growing solemnity of his emotions. He felt that the future he imagined was filled with dark grey hue. At the same time, he raised his evaluation of the Black Emperor, Blood Emperor, and Night Emperor, believing them to be preeminent, mighty figures who were close to being deities. Perhaps that means sequence 1 is the peak existence of a single pathway. Going to this logic, for Black Emperor to live for centuries or over a millennium would be unacceptable. That would explain the original Klein's confusion. He had obtained contradictory findings from the content recorded in the Antigonus family. Oh, exactly, yeah, because the family is like from 1300 years ago, so it's more accurate. Family notebook with his own mentor's viewpoint. He believed that the Black Emperor was a common name used by every emperor of the Roman Empire. Perhaps the Black Emperor had always been the same Black Emperor. Of course, other possibilities cannot be eliminated. For example, they could have been replaced 2 or 3 times, but is the name of that pathway sequence 1 Black Emperor? Yeah, I mean, he's talking about sequence 1 peak of existence of a single pathway. Oh god. Yeah. According to this logic, the Black Emperor, he for centuries or over a millennium, would be unacceptable. That will explain, okay. For example, they could have been replaced, yep. There might be. I wonder who Mr. Dover is in the history of the 4th epoch. Emperor Roselle didn't go into detail when describing his erroneous experiments and accidental coincidences, making it impossible for me to even try to converse with that Mr. Dover. I'm so tired of coincidences, man. I'm so fucking tired. The laws of beyond their characteristics, indestructibility, and similar sequence beyond their characteristics, conservation shares the same description as the one used by the captain. Perhaps the term he used came from Emperor Roselle. Owing to the due laws described by Mr. Thor, he can indeed deduce a lot of interesting speculations. For example, with there being so many holy artifacts and high sequence beyonders, the 7 searches, there shouldn't be many low sequence beyonders, but this contradicts reality, and the only reasonable explanation is an additional gift from the deities. There's a reason why they don't teach the acting method, because doesn't the acting method like make you less chance to lose control? Like, they want people to lose control, and also when they lose control, they can collect their beyonder whatever you drop when you die, right? For example, it's for destruction of the nation of Evernight due to conservation of the characteristics, but the mere possession of resources causes it to be in trouble. Pete said that their existence previously awakens the potency of Evernight pathway and threatens the position of the goddess. I still think that in the nation of Evernight, the people mysteriously disappearing is on purpose, so these people can be brought back future when Klein enters the Onachis mountain range, and it does not have any connection to Evernight goddess. It has some bigger connection to the Secret Order, the Solomon Empire, Antigonus family, and the Secret Organization. That's what I think. For example, theoretically speaking, certain sealed artifacts would also be used as main ingredients for potions materials, or they cannot even be considered equivalent of potions. Of course, the prerequisite is it to remove all latent dangers and madness. It was a lot of lampooning, man. I'm just gonna fucking copy the entire page, man. I'm gonna go through this in theory crafting later when I get new information. save the page also. Important. Great. Mr. Door, Andrew looks tired. I'm a little bit tired, but yeah. No wonder the documents that were unearthed called the Fourth Epoch, the Epoch of the Gods. So it turns out that in this epoch there are many records of deities descending, a lot of like deities reaching sequence 1. Beyonders. Then what caused them to stop coming, to the point there were not being any revelations? I'm guessing because that spot is already filled in, that's why, right? And if you can't become a sequence 1 of a pathway where God is already present, you have to like somehow kill them, and then you can do that, maybe? Then what caused them to stop coming, to the point there were not being any revelations? If it wasn't for the fact that Beyonders received responses from ritualistic magic, perhaps many of them would have doubted the existence of their deities. Many ideas came to Klein suddenly as he felt that he had delved deeper into the realm of mysticism in this Beyonder world. He flipped through the next 4 pages and was disappointed to realize that they were no longer read to Mr. Door. Aww. It means that deities seem not to intervene. Oh, revelations. Oh, caused them to stop coming. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Krawish. You're the goat, man. You correct my misinterpretation of the text, and you correct me. Can we have a round of applause to Krawish Pigeon? I thought what caused them to stop coming, as in like new cards showing up, but no, this context was what caused them to stop coming down to like business and do like force and get themselves involved with human or normal people wars and stuff like that. That makes more sense now. I'm guessing because the churches are already I don't know if you consider it backseating. No, it's correcting me because it's my failing to understand the sentence because, you know, English. I'm nerfed, you know. You guys are the cornerstone of the community. I'm guessing because churches are a thing now and they don't need to get themselves involved. Back then they didn't have like organizations and churches, for example Orthodox deities. And a lot of like evil gods are like sealed or dead or don't have like a body. For example, Hidden Sage wanted to materialize through Old Neil and took over Old Neil's body. But they still exist, like their nos and soul exists. They flipped through the next 4 pages and was disappointed to realize that they were no longer rated to Mr. Door. His ability as clown allowed him to conceal his emotions well, and coupled with the Grail Fog's obstruction, even Audrey, who was secretly observing him, didn't notice anything amiss. Oh, I'm guessing next pages are gonna be about like woman and him complaining about his stupid sons, right? 10th of the September, I haven't heard it for a long time, but I still can't help but complain a little. Must have a fucking shit for brains to choose a savant path, right? Oh my god, of course he's complaining, bro. He can change savant to... I'd have to write it down as well. You can change from savant to mystery prior. I don't think he did that though. Maybe another like pathway you can change to. Of course, this has indeed allowed me to develop my greatest advantage, allowing the church to attach great importance to me, but the problem is that the first few sequences lack any beyonder powers needed for combat. I can only make 2 by relying on mystical items and rely way too much on external items. It's a pretty, like, I'm guessing old diary page, right? Because it's talking about lower sequences. For example, sequence 9 Savant only has extraordinary abilities in memory, learning, and practical skills. I would pick Savant, honestly. For example, sequence 8 Archaeologist gains a strong physique and corresponding ancient knowledge, and they can only barely apply some ritualistic magic. For example, sequence 7 Appriser, whose ability is to quickly identify mystical objects, allowing him to allowing them to avoid hidden dangers to the greatest extent. For example, Sequence 6 Artisan. Oh, new sequence who can produce machinery wonder, but not very powerful beyond their object. Apart from that, one standard in ritualistic magic will be enhanced. It's no wonder its modern name is Machinery Specialist. Ah! Sequence 6 used to be Artisan, but now it's Machinery Specialist. I see. Also, interesting that he says that. This is the ultimate nerd pathway. The engineer pathway. I will low-key pick that. Sequence 6. Machinery Specialist. Who else would low-key pick that, by the way? That's so boring, but it's like so chill. You can invent stuff. You can like solve mysteries with that, I guess, as well, right? Low-key mystery solving pathway. Oops, sorry. I did not mean to do that. Comparatively speaking, the Sequence 7 Warlock and Sequence 6 Scrolls Professor. Ooh, we can switch to that if he wants to, honestly. Mystery Briar pathways are sufficient tempting. I will be great if only the search has the complete sequence and that the hidden sage doesn't exist. Oh, he's scared of the hidden sage. Scrolls Professor. Ooh. Where is Mystery Briar? Such a fucking nerd. Both are nerd pathways, honestly. Machine Doctor. Who said Machine Doctor? Scrolls Professor. However, I finally received some good news, everyone. After I went once again, I'll gain beyond their powers, combat powers, so they can call myself my own. Sequence 5, Astromancer. Astromancer! That sounds sick! Astromancer. I can summon planets or some shit? Summon meteors to follow my opponents? Imagine. Astromancer. Summoning meteors on your opponent sounds like a Sequence 2 or Sequence 3 ability, by the way. Scrolls Professor low-key goes hard for no reason. It low-key goes hard if you're 75-year-old university professor. That's when it goes hard. Astromancer. That's so fucking cool. I'm guessing astro from astronomy. Or astrology. This is something wrong? Like, isn't astro mean... doesn't astro mean space? Astro meaning... Right into the stars, yeah. Like Madara, exactly. Astro means space, I was right. Potato. So I'm guessing you can summon maybe like meteors or something. I don't think you can like, I don't know. Summon like stars. That would be insane. Am I going to end up an all-powerful mad scientist? Heavens, have mercy on me. I was only a second-year student at the college entrance examination. Post telling about his real life, man. It had to be said the Emperor Roselle had a strange talent for making jokes. Even the recently dispirited Klein could help but to twitch his mouth, wishing a candle for his senior. Its modern name scares me a little. It's called Astronomer. Oh. Why would it scare him though? Why would it scare him? Isn't astronomer just a profession? Let me just do this. Because I think Astromancer sounds more cool. Astromancer is like who's tell your future depending on stars' movement? Really? Really? Okay. Studying space in Lovecraftian world, easy road to losing control. Yeah, true actually. That's so true you mentioned that. Astromancer is so much cooler than Astronomer, I'm just saying. Skip reading. Heavens, have mercy on me. I was only a second-year student at the college entrance examination. Had to be said that Emperor Roselle had a strange talent for making jokes. Even the recently dispirited Klein couldn't help but twitch his mouth, wishing to light a candle for the senior. Study hard and improve, for the day is indeed a wise saying. He lampooned and remembered the unique trait of the Church of the Gods, steam and machinery. They lacked beyond their powers when it came to combat, but they were good at making and using items. After flipping to the third page of the diary, Klein continued reading. 2nd of June, the kingdom has created chaos again and again, instigating wars without being able to completely destroy the Fasak Empire. So they had beef with Fasak Empire. It's kind of like, because, you know, Fasak Empire is influenced by France. Sorry, yeah. And the Feina-Potter Empire is influenced by Russia. It's kind of like Napoleon, right? It's kind of like a Napoleon versus Russia kind of thing. And the Feina-Potter kingdom as such, the kingdom has no choice but to shoulder huge debts, and its economy is on the verge of collapse. It didn't collapse, though it was saved, right? From my observations, the people, merchants, and soldiers are very dissatisfied. The riots are just lacking a spark. This is my chance. But I have to be careful. The Soren family has witnessed the history of the 4th epoch and its ancient family with a high possibility of having high secret beyonders. I need to support the search as well as gain tacit agreement with the search of eternal blazing sun. So the Soren family is the leading or like biggest family in Feina-Potter kingdom, right? I'm guessing they have like the they have some kind of pathway and high sequence beyonders, like complete pathway. Feina-Potter is the Earth Mother. I see. I can appear immediately. First I let the rebels destroy order before end it all as a protector. Console Roselle Gustav. I like that name. Oh my god, he's such a fucking self-glazer, man. Okay. Cool. Peak pages. I think we have more pages left, right? Soren was the royal family of Intis. Ah, yeah, Intis. With Fasak inspired by Russians. I mixed up. Oh, okay. I see now. Where the mix-up came. For some reason, I mixed up Intis and Fasak. Intis was inspired by France. Fasak was inspired by Russians, and Feina-Potter, no idea. Maybe British. And then Soren was the royal family of Intis. Was. Exactly. Yeah, true. I have it written down as well. Which is inspired by which. But I spoke too fast. Lowen is British, true. Okay, 218. Let's go. I'm so excited. Let's see the rest of the pages until we make any like conclusions and stuff. Hopefully we have more mention of like wars and stuff. It's so interesting to me. This is so freaking interesting. Free general knowledge. June 3rd, after discussing with Edwards and the others. Edwards? I gave up on the idea. Edwards, first time mentioned. I gave up the idea of reaching a tacit understanding with the Church of Eternal Blazing Sun. This might very well reveal my true intentions, making the Soren family and the ancient nobles who support them aware of them in advance and carry out a direct approach. That will make matters extremely difficult and dangerous. Okay. Just look, at this point, he's not like a really high sequence beyonder because at this point he's scared of the nobles and shit. It's pity that Krim died in the Sea of Fog. He was the smartest Amogus. Krim? The Sea of Fog? What does Sea of Fog even mean? We have to copy this line. I think it's very important. This is gonna be a huge context in the future, I think. This is a really important line here. Descent into chaos. Descent only with everything in chaos will I get the chance to fish in troubled waters. Only when the Soren family is incapable of handling this situation will the Church of Eternal Blazing Sun reluctantly acknowledge me. It's like getting the Blazing Sun Church on his side instead of the Soren family side. So maybe he set them up somehow. Sea of Fog as in the Fog of Sea from the 5 Seas. Okay. So... how did this fucking guy die though? It's very like... Krim was one of the companions of Roselle, just like how Edwards was. Descent, we have written volume 1, that's crazy. There's so many fucking diary pages. We have to compile all of them in a one big file, I think. And then reread all of them, because this is like I think the very deciding point of the story about diaries, where we can connect some dots, right? Perhaps I should give some help to those rebels, but how should I conceal myself so no one will notice? Oh, like fund the rebels so they can overthrow, that's fine, like cool. That's very sneaky of you. June 4th, Saratul from the Secret Order came to visit me in incognito very suddenly. Also, the thing with this diary that like pisses me off is that Roselle is not writing down years of when this happened, because for him the diary is continuous events from beginning to the end. But because all the pages are scattered, we have to like somehow put up a timeline ourselves, and maybe we can do that when we get all the pages, like from the earliest and for the latest, then we can like add them in the middle when we find more. So why did Saratul visit you? And then Klein was just feeling intrigued over the reason why Saratul, leader of the Secret Order, would seek Roselle on the eve of the rebellion. Oh, so it was that during the time, yeah, because June 3rd, June 4th, okay. And the coup at that when they realized that two subsequent pages had nothing to do with it. This made him feel a sense of irrepressible anger. Literally fucking Roselle trolled us and blue-balled us and aged us. I'm guessing he's gonna... I mean, Saratul visited him. Did Saratul stop him, or did Saratul like help him? Although the 3 diary pages didn't provide any detailed description, with rather straightforward accounts from Roselle, Klein could still feel the famous turmoil in Intis that happened in 1173, more than 100 years ago. Okay, so we have a date now. The outcome was clearly recorded in history textbooks. Colonel Roselle, so at that point he was a colonel, quashed the rebellion and then... oh my god, this fucking guy. He set up his own rebellion and then quashed it. What a fucking loser. And enacted political changes. The Intis kingdom was transformed into a republic, with him acting as self-appointed consul. That's how he overthrew. That's how he did it. He's like Napoleon, kinda. Even though there was no royal family when Napoleon was around and they were already quashed. In the following 19 years, he reformed the penal code, encouraged inventions, and protected the Industrial Revolution. He greatly increased the country's strength and fought wars both north and south, making Lemberg, Massin, Segar, and other countries protectorates under the Intis Republic. Oh, basically made them his puppet. He also made the 3 mighty countries on the northern continent, the Phasic Empire, the Roman Kingdom, and Fena Potter Kingdom, powder heads. At the end of 1192, almost 20 years after his appointment, and consul Roselle converted the republic into an empire, declaring himself Caesar. What a loser, man. Less than 6 years later, he perished in the White Male Palace, ending the 5th epoch's most legendary piece of history to date. I still think he's alive, bro. One of my theories is that he actually did become a god. And reach sequence 1 on Savant pathway. The more he thought about it, the more he felt, and him dying in the White Maple Palace is just like a story they tell everyone, because books are written by victors. He felt that there were more to Roselle's death than what appeared on surface. Exactly, it was just like how this famous historical event definitely had power struggles among Beyonders behind it, and the Beyonder faction had leveled the situation, unlike the description in textbooks. As expected, one so-called 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Krim. You had a title called 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse? Died in the Sea of Fog. In a previous diary page, Roselle had written that there were something wrong with this horseman. It seems to have something to do with this tiny island where they discovered many extraordinary beings. Not only was it a fortuitous encounter, but also a dangerous one. Klein thought of a previous entry and turned to the 5th page feeling emotional. Them discovering Tiny Island is too good of a coincidence to be true, by the way. Right? What if Krim did something like, I don't know, sacrificed himself? I don't know, but I feel like Krim's death is a mystery that we have to figure out, so I'll also copy this paragraph as well and mark it for later. The contents of this page are of little value. They consist of Roselle comments after drinking an 1128 Auromir red wine. Oh, because he's drunk riding, okay. The dissolution of finding the woman who had gained his adoration in his youth to be aged out of shape, as well as a degenerate summary of a certain period when he was addicted to playing cards. Okay, his life is so fucking colorful, man. The sixth page was about the same as the first one with accounts of his daily life, however the last one made Klein's eyes light up. There we go, last page for now then. 8th of April, I have to send someone to investigate the secret order to get more information. I can't repeat my passiveness from before. I can't let Sarato lead me by my nose. I had a very early theory that Saratur is manipulating Roselle behind the scenes and doing his bidding for him. Maybe like Roselle became powerful enough to like defeat Saratul and like show that he's the fucking man, not Saratul. So did you discover anything, comrade Roselle? Since Klein couldn't find the rest of the information, he could only force himself to calm down and wait for the next gathering when the hanged man would hand over the other 6 pages. Okay, that's it. This is the 6 pages for now. We have at least 13 left. I'm guessing next Monday we're gonna get 6 more. Cool. This is the most info we had so far. I guess he did send someone to the secret order to investigate. I wonder what happened with that. He knew that the investigation from over 100 years ago was unlikely to help him with any clues to the secret organization after all such a long period of time, other than the special ones. And many of the high sequence beyonders would have already died of old age, not to mention the middle or low members. However, Klein believed that this would help him obtain inspiration and grasp and precise identity and activity patterns that full secret order often used. Putting down the 6 diary pages, Klein tapped his right index finger on the edge of the long bronze table, slowly moving his gaze from Miss Justice to the hanged man and then to the sun. Right, in the diary just now there was a line of Emperor Roselle described, God who created all the deities, omnipotent and omniscient God. This is very similar to the custom of the City of Silver. Where did he get this from? Would it be from the most ancient and secret organization which controls the world from behind the scenes? This organization was established before the Forsaken of God was forsaken. That's a fucking rabbit hole and a half, Klein. He has brought it up before, by the way. Wouldn't this just be the omnipotent and omniscient God? Wouldn't this be the closest thing we have to the original creation myth? Sonic Klein had a new idea, he said with a low and gentle smile. Roselle mentioned some hidden history in his diary, and mentioned some simple general knowledge. The latter reminded me of something that I won't recall informing you all. Audrey suddenly fell into a trance. She immediately turned her body around and looked at the very top of the ancient long table in a pleasant surprise. Mr. Fall is taking the initiative to mention the contents of Roselle's diary. What will it say? She was so excited and thrilled that she completely forgot that she was a spectator. Oh my god, Audrey being a little bit of a klutz. Compared to her, the hanged man Olger was much more composed. However, the subconscious straightening of his back heartlessly betrayed him. Only the son Derek had always believed that the item of interest to Mr. Full contained many mysteries, but he didn't know anything about Emperor Roselle, and didn't know that his name represented in the northern continent. Thus, he just found it difficult to hide his curiosity and didn't reveal any unusual behavior. Mr. Fool, did Emperor Roselle mention some general knowledge? I'm willing to pay for this information, Audrey couldn't help but say. I mean, does Klein really need a job? He's just gonna make Audrey pay him like £50 every month, right? For information. But then again, like, that will make Mr. Fool seem like a fool. A real one. And a fraud. Mr. Fraud. However, I want it to be communicated to me privately, she added silently in her heart. Klein chuckled and said, there's no need, this is very simple general knowledge. When reading this part of diary, as a summoner of the Diary Club, I feel it's necessary to let all of you know this. Of course, I'm very certain that some of you are already aware of this. He was mainly referring to the sun. The City of Silver had a history of 2,000 to 3,000 years, so it was impossible for them to not discover the law of beyond their characteristics indestructibility. Exactly, yeah. Moreover, they were in a relatively extreme environment. Even if surrounding areas had no lack of monsters, in the darkness there will still be times when they had to obtain the corresponding materials in order to pass their heritage, in order for the city to continue on. Using the beyond their characteristics of remains of their predecessors to create the potion wasn't particularly unacceptable. To them, this was perhaps a sacred and glorious ceremony. Of course, Klein could see from a previous exchange that the hanged man knew something. Okay, let's see. It's a pity that Mistress cannot always be made to pay in gold pounds and transfer the money to my blessed. My blessed can't appear any less impressive. I mustn't destroy the image of the borrowed man Mr. Azik has created. Exactly, you can't be Mr. Fraud. Yes, I'll give a try when I have the chance. After all, no matter how powerful a being is, they'll have a subordinates that run errands. For instance, the Evernight Goddess Sleepless. No one will ever suspect that the Evernight Goddess isn't the true deity just because a low-level Nighthawk are weak. Klein sighed silently. Thank you very much, Mr. Fool. You are too generous, Audrey replied in joy. So, I wonder if, like, right now, Klein is looking for the Secret Order. What if he just, like, takes over? Like, he's like, I am Mr. Fool, I was sent by Sarat, and he's gonna gaslight the Secret Order into like being their like subordinates and bow to Mr. Fool because he's on the Seer pathway, and they think he like high level Seer pathway because he has the Grey Fog or something. She was feeling 3 seconds of regret for the course action of using cash to purchase this information. Klein stopped rapping the table and described with a calm voice. The first piece of general knowledge, law of Beyonder characteristics, indestructibility. The characteristics of a Beyonder is never destroyed or reduced. It only passed from one carrier to the next. Without realizing it, he used Captain Stone. Klein's lips subsequently curled upwards. Aww. No, it cannot be destroyed or reduced. It just transfers from one carrier to another. Audrey ruminated over Mr. Fool's description, feeling that there was too much meaning in that simple sentence. When I first heard it was like very confusing as well, but you know, it's not really. Her emerald eyes turned and, oh my god, imagine if Susie dies. Oh, is Audrey gonna take Susie's Beyonder characteristics for like future ingredient? And when she saw that neither the hanged man nor the son showed any signs of surprise or contemplation, she immediately understood that these two members of the Terror Club had long known this law. I mean, yeah, I'm guessing the son obviously, but Olga as well, I guess. I didn't know, she thought, feeling somewhat aggravated, but she quickly began to praise Mr. Fool for his kindness. I mean, Audrey is new Beyonder, so yeah. Why the fuck are you trying to manifest Susie's death? Because I think it's inevitable as a canon event for Audrey's character progression, man. At this point, Klein added, after a rampager dies, they will leave behind an item of Beyonder characteristics. It could be the main ingredient, or it could be a mystical artifact that requires sealing. Ordinarily, Beyonder's death results in similar results. However, the item left behind will be equivalent to the corresponding potion without the supplementary ingredients. Of course, the item in alone will contain Beyonder powers. They can be used as a half mystical object. What's the OST? It's Silk Song. I haven't played Silk Song, but this OST goes hard. It's Nyleth. The plain and indifferent words instantly echoed in Audrey's mind, layers stacked upon layers, and bit by bit, it eventually reached a crescendo. Audrey thought of cannibalism at the question, will the sequence pathway be severed if the source of Beyonder materials cease to exist? She had asked the hanged man previously came to mind. No, she knew that, but she wouldn't have rather not heard it. She felt like she was having a nightmare. Aww. How can it be so cruel? Why is it so dark? Audrey had previously seen some past situations that involved Beyonders, but those situations were only caused by a person's own perverse and evil nature. For example, Chilangos. For example, Mr. A or Chilangos. Oh, Mr. A from the auction or whatever. Remember him? That didn't affect her yearning and love for mysticism and the Beyonder world. Also, Mr. A is not... I don't think Mr. A is related to Aurora Order. It's just like a very common naming. However, this time she discovered that the mystical world has filled with grayness and darkness. Audrey, not everything is flowers and games, you know? Sorry. What the heck happened? Okay, here. Wake up, Audrey. You can't be naive. Consider that the well to darkness described by Mr. Fool are predictable. Since I've chosen this path, I have to bravely walk down it. Yes, my girl. Let's go, Audrey. Audrey consoled herself, easing her mood a little. She saw that the hanged man and the sun were making only habitual movements and appeared to understand what had just been said. The hanged man is terrible. He even wanted to use this information as exchange previously. This information is indeed worth a lot, and it's quite important, but it's only a simple piece of general knowledge to us. And Mr. Fool suddenly wanted to laugh a little. Her mood began to improve, and she slowly pushed all the extreme examples that she had just thought of aside. Klein wasn't surprised by the three members' reaction and continued in a calm down. Second piece of their knowledge, law of similar sequence beyond their characteristics conservation. Law of similar sequence beyond their characteristic conservation. The hanged man slightly changed his sitting posture. Oh, the hanged man is locked in now. Like, doesn't know about this. He felt that he understood something, but he was unable to fully understand that this law represented and what it consisted of. Justice and the sun shared the same feelings as he did. They were unable to directly understand the true meaning behind this law. Why similar sequence? Olger couldn't help asking. Klein smiled and replied, "What do you wish to pay for the answer?" Ooh, £100. One of the ideas he had was general knowledge was free, but any explanation required a fee. This both matched his status and didn't waste information. Free things cost the most. Free things cost the most. That's so cool, man. Okay, there we go. The client is gonna make some money. Anyway, great chapter. The what's it called again? The pages are over. Fair enough. We have 13 pages left, but Olger has a skill issue where he can't remember. He can remember 6 at most, and I guess we're gonna see the conversation go down next time. And also, these were the best diary pages yet. We took a lot of notes, we made a lot of theories as well in this chapter, in the previous chapter, and volume 2 are all. I am gonna pause here. We read, what was it? It should be 218, by the way. We read 6 chapters, like I promised. We read 213, 214, 215, 216, 217, and 218. So we're coming back in a few days to continue, maybe on Tuesday, maybe on Wednesday, I don't know yet, I'll let you know in Discord, but I'll take tomorrow a break to record anime and other stuff. And I'll see you soon. W stream, that makes my heart, man. That makes my heart. I'm gonna post the predictions and the theories in Discord as well. You can follow my Discord if you haven't yet. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Thank you for coming.